Hey everybody, Fetty here, and I've got a new project today, and I'm really torqued up about this one because I've never had any garage door openers on these doors. And for 3 years, or over 3 years, I've been slinging these things open and closed by hand. And you know, these are big 9x9 doors, and I mean, it's not that bad, but it's kind of a pain. I've got kind of a jacked up shoulder, and it's just kind of starting to get on my nerves. So I'm pretty excited about being able to put some garage door openers in. You know, as the project's going on, I've put that off because I've kind of redirected that money to other major purchases, and now the house is essentially done, and at least the major purchase stuff. So I'm going to start getting some garage door openers, and they're kind of expensive, but just over the next few weeks I'm going to buy another one and another one until finally I have all 3 doors with an opener. So, you know, that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that, but what I'm even more excited about is the kind of garage door opener that I'm going to put up. This is called a Liftmaster Elite Series 8500. And what's really cool about it is it's not like your traditional garage door opener that has a track running down the center of your garage door bay and a big motor at the back. This one mounts right on the wall. It's a small little unit. It's about that wide and about that tall, and it mounts right on the wall right next to your garage door opener. And what it does is that bar, and you have to forgive me, I don't know the terminology on garage doors. I don't know if it's a torsion bar or tension bar, whatever it is. It's got your spring around it. It runs right across the top where your header is. It's got a spring around it, and that spring has tension on it, and it assists in opening the door. So what it does, this little unit here has a little shaft that comes out the side of it, and that shaft hooks on to that bar and essentially turns that bar into a drive shaft. And you know, when you engage the motor, it turns that into a drive shaft. It opens and then closes the garage door. I think that's pretty cool. About 25 years ago, I put up one of the traditional garage door openers. And I don't know if it was because of my youth and inexperience, but that thing gave me a fit putting it up. And that worked okay once I got it up, but it was a pain. And since then, I've just been a little bit jaded or a little bit scared to try to put one of them up. So I'm pretty excited about this because I think it's going to be a little bit easier to install. I'll let you know at the end of the video what I think, but I think this is going to be easier to install. I was going to pick one of these up online. They're all over the place, but I found a place locally, and they were really nice. They were really helpful. Don Johnson's Garage Door Service. I had to buy it from them just because of his cool name. It made me think back to the glory days of Crockett and Tubbs. So I might have paid a few more bucks for it, but that's okay. They were helpful, and you know, sometimes it feels good to spend a couple extra bucks and buy something and help your local people. So all this is cool, but what's the coolest thing about it is when I was leaving the place today, they had this big rack of accessories for these Liftmaster openers, and the guy got me all torqued up about this device right here. The Liftmaster Internet Gateway. Now what this is going to do for me is once I get it up and installed, I can be anywhere in the world. I can be in my mid-40s midlife crisis Thailand tour, and I can crack out my iPhone and open my garage door. So I think that's pretty cool. You don't need it. It's not a necessity, but I just think stuff like that's really cool. So I got it. I think it's 40 or 50 bucks. So I'm pretty excited about that. And eventually it'll be able to control all 3 of my garage doors. So I don't know, it's just something stupid. I'll probably never use it, but I think it's kind of cool just to be able to do it. So that's what we have going on today, and it ought to be a fun project. So let's get started. So folks, I'm not a garage door opener expert, and I'm doing probably what you do and following the instructions, and I'm not a real good instruction follower. But one thing that's really cool about this opener is that the shaft extends on both sides, so you can mount this thing on either side of your garage door. I'm going to mount it on the left side of my garage door, so this is where we're going to be working from. So the first thing we're going to do is get this unit prepared to be installed on the wall. And they supply a collar, and the collar with the larger diameter hole is what's going to go around this drive shaft right here. And we'll secure this up, and then this is where that tensioning bar on the garage door itself is going to go into. So when you engage the garage door opener, this thing just turns. So let's go ahead and get this tightened up. We're just going to tighten it up equally on both sides. Until we have it good and snug. Okay, it's good. Now we're going to put this little mounting bracket into place. It's already got 2 holes, so you'll know where it goes. Use a couple of these little small little hex head screws that come in the hardware kit. And we're just going to snug it up a little bit because we're going to need to be able to adjust it in and out as we go to mount this thing. This takes an 8mm, and like I said, we're just going to kind of get it there so that I can work with it when I go mounting it on the wall, so that looks good. Now this motor, all it does is just mounts on the wall right here, and the collar goes across this bar right here, and like I said, it turns that into a drive shaft. Now in order for this to work, you have to have some minimum dimensional requirements, and what I mean by that is from the wall to this bar, you have to have a minimum of 2.5 inches. You have to have 8 inches of unobstructed space to either side of wherever you mount the motor, and you got to have 3 inches of headroom. Now for me, that's kind of tight, but it's going to fit in there just fine. So really now it's just a matter of taking this opener and sliding it over that collar. And that's all there is to it. Now I'll just kind of size it up and get it in the place that I want it. And the bracket on the side, I'll drill a pilot hole, and they supply these big 2-inch lag bolts, and I'll just run them in, secure it up, get it squared up, and that's it. Now, if the bar happened to be a little further out from the wall, that's going to make this come out a little bit further than the bracket would allow. So you'd have to come in behind it with a 2x4 or something and kind of block it out a little bit and shim it up, but that wouldn't even be a big problem. I really kind of expected I'd have to do that, but it looks perfect the way it is. So let me go ahead and get this thing secured in. Now I laid the motor up into place, and I marked where the bracket's going to go. And you may notice I'm actually drilling through this piece of steel here, the piece of garage door hardware, but that's okay. It's not going to matter. I'm not diminishing its strength or integrity or anything. So I've marked it, and I'm just going to put a couple pilot holes for the screws that are going to hold that bracket into place. And now we're ready to put this thing into place, and we'll secure the bracket down and then tighten the collar, the locking screws on that collar, and we'll be good to go with that part. So now we're just going to run them bolts into that bracket and secure it real good. And now that that's done, all I'm going to do is go ahead and tighten this collar that's on this bar that goes across the top. Just got to be careful to put even pressure on both sides of that collar. Now, on the back side of that collar is a set screw, so we're going to have to disengage this assembly and just lift the door up just a little bit so that collar can turn and we can get to that set screw, and we'll tighten that set screw up and we'll be done with that part. Okay, to get to those set screws, we're going to have to disengage the opener and just manually pick the door up. You probably can't see it on the camera, but that collar rolled around and I can see those set screws now. And to keep the door from falling back down, we'll just go ahead and re-engage the opener to hold it into place. And that's good.